What's up, people? One Nut Punch here. Take a look at a game called Cobalt Core I picked up for about $20 on Steam. It's a full release title, and it was made by Rocket Rat Games. The game essentially has you playing four different types of difficulty modes. For example, you have normal, hard, harder, and hardest. And depending upon what you're going to do, for example, if you do the hardest one, you'll have brittle, which is essentially taking double damage from anybody that hits that specific area of your ship. Or if it was weak, then it would be able to take more damage, like 2 or 3 more damage per time it gets hit, and you have a total of 3 crew members in your ship. And these 3 crew members will have their own different types of abilities as well as their own special traits when it comes down to the cards that they use. For example, Dizzy is a science officer that uses cards for shielding and shielding manipulation. Riggs is a pilot. Her cards are flexible movement and card draw. Then you have Peri, that's a weapons officer. Her cards are instant movement and attack cards. And then you have Cat, which is the AI of the ship, and their cards provide basic utility. So if you get any type of new upgrade or any type of support ability other than using attack cards, that is what that specific person's used for. When you get into combat itself, you'll have these cards on the bottom screen. You'll have the crew on the left-hand side, the AI on the top that shows the modifier, whether it be hard or they have more cargo capacity or whichever. You'll have the enemy portrait on the right-hand side with the ship that's above you, and then your ship on the middle of the actual screen. What happens is when you get into combat, you have to deal with this other ship that you're trying to destroy. And they have shields, they'll do specific types of intentions, and they'll be able to shoot you on specific parts of your ship. There are different types. For example, you'll have your wings, your pilot cockpit, you'll have brittle or weakened areas sometimes if you get different structures put on. Other times you'll have a scaffold or a type of area that's empty, and they can shoot through that and you don't take damage on your ship. But essentially what you're trying to do is destroy the other vessel as fast as possible without taking a bunch of damage. And the way that is done is that per turn you will get 3 action points to be able to use these cards that will allow you to have temp shield, full shield, damage, or being able to evade or basic dodge from attacks that are currently on your ship. You can move right or left depending upon how much dodge you currently have. And you can save that dodge per turn, not having to worry about using it because it will persist throughout the next round. Or if it does say something like it's temp, then you would have to use it for that turn before it's completely gone. That being said, it does have full shields that you can take, and that will power up all the way up to whatever max you have. Currently mine is 4 on the Artemis, and this is the basic default ship you get. The thing I forgot to mention earlier was that there was 5 different ships in the game, and they are unlocked from different things like winning a run on hard mode, being able to get 40 artifacts, or being able to unlock the game multiple times, as well as unlock new crew members to be able to try out the different types of ships in the game. For example, there is an actual ship in the game that you have to unlock without any of the 3 crew members you currently have, which is Peri, Riggs, or Dizzy, and that, if that is beaten with the new crew members, will unlock later. But essentially, you have other different types of mechanics in the game. For example, you have multi-shot that will attack 2 or 3 times. Then you have a B-sided multi-shot that will do infinite without discarding every time you use it. There'll be other ones like missiles that will hit you or home onto you. Other times it'll be corrosive or armor-piercing damage. And like I said earlier, when it comes down to your ship, there will be parts on it that will take more damage than others. For example, your cockpit, your wings, or if they do structural stuff that's changed, like if you go to some of these question marks, it'll be like a station, and they will give you a empty slot or a weapon slot. Not this guy, for example, Cleo. What he does is he actually repairs my vessel, and it goes up depending upon my max HP of my ship. Other times it'll allow you to remove a card you don't use a bunch. Like, I didn't understand stun charge until I used it, and then I hit a weapon that was about to shoot me, and that stunned it for a turn, and didn't allow for the actual weapon to go off. And then you have the upgradable card that you could upgrade your attack cards or defensive cards if you want to have more value in terms of temp shield, full shield, or being able to attack 3 times in one turn. But then you have other bosses in the game, for example, the crystalline entity that will pop up in the first or second runs. And I got to the 3rd or final boss, which was essentially a cobalt ship. And the cobalt ship's pretty hard to deal with. He'll have missiles and he'll be able to fire a bunch of lasers at you that will increase over time. For example, the crystalline entity also does the same thing to where if you fight him for a long period of time, those 1s or 2s will go up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 damage at a time and will annihilate you if you allow it to stay up for quite a while. In closing thoughts before the end of the video, my personal opinion about Cobalt Core is that it's actually a very fun game to try out. If you're into card games and you like the whole space aesthetic, being able to take care of your ship, looking at your crew members that allowed to get like artifacts that will increase their abilities, or being able to do something special and being allowed to do more damage, increase more shields, being able to evade more stuff, and getting more structures put on your vessel for every single run you're about to do. I think it's a great and fun game to try out for $20. They do have some funny quips. For example, the crew will fight each other or get annoyed when Riggs tries to get a gun, which is something they show, stating she needs it because they're about to get in some dangerous stuff, and they take the gun away from her. She gets annoyed and some other things, but it's still pretty fun to play the game otherwise when it comes down to the actual combat, getting through the different ships that do missile firing, or being able to help a Toad that shoots his own missiles. You have to shoot them down so he doesn't take damage. But before the actual closing of the video, the whole game consists of you and your 3 crew members basically going through a time loop, and they're trying to get out of it because they keep dying over and over and over. And the AI cat thing does tell you a couple of times that you try to go through these loops, that you do die a bunch, you never really make it to the Cobalt ship, and that's pretty much the end of it. So just like this time loop, I also die, and I'm not getting used to that fighter, so I'll wake up, try it again, and see what happens. Anyway, I've been One Nut Punch. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later in the next one.